Hello. So, yes, we're back here with Yasha. It's been a bit of a bumpy ride managing to coordinate us talking again. I've been very busy, and I don't think, Yasha, you've been very well. Is that correct?
Well, I've been progressing as expected so far as Parkinson's is concerned. In other words, I'm not expecting things to get better, but I've not increased my medication, which stands for something. That means that some of my symptoms are a bit worse, although I'm managing to hang on to the same symptoms because the side effect is what really makes life uncomfortable.
Okay, so you've now I
Sorry.
understand there are many levels to your symptoms now. There's sort of the mental aspect, the physical, but there's also some side effects to do with your digestive system we mentioned before.
Yes. Yes, I mean, the practical ones are things like tremor, which can be very, very uncomfortable for the simple reason that it's very tiring, physically tiring. I exhaust myself just by the simple gesture of the tremor that I go on a couple of hours a day or more.
I suppose that is, it's muscle movement.
Yes, and it's an interesting exercise to try and relax that because the whole idea of meditation, for example, is to try and relax the muscles on your body. When you say sit up straight and relax your body, I think you will find that it's very difficult when you've got Parkinson's.
Yeah, so
Or
trying
if,
to
sorry,
relax the automatic vibrations. Yeah.
yes,
In the Yoga Sutra Patanjali, the aim of yoga is to overcome vritti, which are like mind vibrations. But yes, I imagine. So how much can you control them? I suppose you need to be calm, 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 calm to sort of stop the tremors or
the agitation, sensitivity to agitation, in a sense of tension, I'm very sensitive. And I don't get much sympathy for it. And quite justifiably, I don't get sympathy. I tend to be short-tempered, which I'm not by nature, but Parkinson makes me short-tempered.
uh, this is
Let's
really, it's strange you should bring this up. So often in life, I encounter people who they're being unreasonable and but I know why. I've met them. I know that 3 weeks ago their wife passed away, and now I'm in a meeting and they're acting crazy. And I think, well, that's what it is. That person's bouncing off the walls emotionally. It's nothing to do with me, it's nothing to do with the meeting. And or that someone's very ill, like you're saying, and because of it. Other times it's me who's really tired or in a funny situation. I can feel myself being the the unreasonable person, and I think, right, come on, come back. And there's this my higher consciousness knows that my personality is being moody or overreacting or emotionally being a bit oversensitive to stuff, and I just need to be, I really wanted to be comforted like I was by my mother as a child. That's what I'm really after. So, but I think you're underplaying what a position of suffering you're in. I can see just the moment I saw you, Yash, I thought he's in a different place than we've ever seen before here.
That's
It's,
true. I think the most important problem I find, or the most frustrating aspect of everything, is that I feel as if I'm a prisoner in a cage, that the walls are gradually closing on me, and there is no way out. Now, what becomes very frustrating is when they decide that they need to do something to keep me better. because all they're keeping me better for is for a worse end, for an ending, for the same ending, for the same purpose.
Mm.
You see what I mean? I
Yes.
feel as if I'm being patched together, patched up, in order to be more prepared to pass away. And somehow there should be more of a choice as to how I want to go or where I want to go.
My word. So, I mean, there's a few things here to unravel, and please forgive me, some of these things are big and challenging. So, the first thing is you saying, listen, I'm in such a hard state that I'm becoming aggressive and moody and stuff. And, you know, part of me feels I deserve some sympathy. Part of me thinks, no, I don't, because I'm such a pain. Because the illness is bashing you out of shape a bit, and you're not behaving like your normal personality. Yeah, so if that's what I'm kind of getting from you there.
That's correct. That's very correct.
Yeah. And that's frustrating. And most people watching this video, they've been through something where life bashed them so hard they weren't themselves. Maybe they're in a divorce, maybe their business went bust, maybe they had a car crash. You're saying, well, listen, I'm living in that. Every day I'm not who I'm meant to be because I'm so ill that I'm grumping to the people close to me, to the people who are trying to help me. I'm doing my best, but I know I'm a bit of a pain to be around sometimes, and it's really hard to prevent.
That would be putting it mildly. I can see how I'm more and more incapable. I need help now. I can see that I'm going to need help going up the steps. I already do. I've fallen a couple of times, but I've never been in my life in a situation where the end was within its sight and unavoidable. I mean, it was always there. We all know everybody has got to die, everybody has got to pass away, everybody has got to end their lifetime. But I think facing it in practical terms is a different subject. There is a good aspect to it. I find that I've managed to somehow pin down
Wow. But that's the one aspect. The other one is what you were saying is this, and
trying to think of the word spirituality.
mm,
I've come to terms with the fact that there is an element of our minds that is a spiritual aspect to our being. And that I'm convinced now that that state of mind, which is much bigger than the body, the mind is much wider, much more expansive than the body, will survive the body. Now, this isn't a theory. This isn't something that is, which I sort of speculated with before. This, it's as if I've taken it and put it aside, and I'm persuaded now that is going to happen anyway. The question is to see how much of it we can interpret on the way out, so to speak.
I suppose that's a bit, you know, I was saying when I can see there's a higher part of me can see my personality being, you know, a bit bashed out of shape. You're living it. So you've got that aspect that's kind of observing Yasha being in this body that he can't control with a personality that he can't quite direct. But the contrast must be a lot more obvious for you.
The contrast between what?
Between this sort of higher mind that's observing and the limited mortal self that's going through all this.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
much sharper.
But one thing I want to touch on a bit further more, and this is just because other people may be going through this, and people watching this, you were saying we all need to die and at some point, and this is, um, something that we've accepted, maybe at a certain point in our life, but you're saying it's starting to feel like you're in a situation where there's going to be a crash, and when people patch you up, you think, I don't know if I want to be patched up. People say, good news, Yasha, this will help you go a bit longer. And you think, do I want to go a bit longer?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's exactly right.
Yeah, you're in a sinking ship, and they're saying, well, here's a put your finger in this hole. And you think, hang on, I don't know about this. That sounds like that's the kind of feeling. Now,
It's exactly right. Occasionally you get a doctor that will be honest with you, honest in the sense, in inverted commas, because they will say to you, you are 84 years old, you've got a problem on a twisted, blocked stomach. Now, it's not worth operating because you are too old to recover properly from the anesthetic. Now, that is an interesting deduction from a doctor, for a doctor to admit that. And he will say, well, once you are over the age of 60, you are an old man or an old woman. The old dotage starts at 60 until 75. So once you've gone past 75, you're really gone. And today all they're doing is they're improving. And I remember reading one of your podcasts, which I felt was very wise for such a young man. But you made the point that living has nothing to do with the physical state. It's with the way that the cells in your body are reacting to whatever circumstance is there. And therefore, you can be an old man at day 50, or you can be an old man at 90. You would still be the same age, if you see what I mean.
yes, our biological age and chronological age is something sort of different. Yeah.
Yes, I think we should look more into that. It's a very interesting concept.
Yes, I mean, it's something they're really starting to explore, and there's a lot of new developments going on in the sort of in life. What I'm trying to do is put myself in your position emotionally, though. It's a bit so all our life, we have a sense we can bounce back from things. To have something really big like that, and they say, well, I don't think you'll actually recover. Oh,
The thing is that the reality of everything, the reality makes itself more manifest as you grow older. I think that is not. I don't think it's frustrating. I think that's the what we have to recognize, that we're still in the same cycle of birth, growing up, responsibilities, sicknesses, and the final death. All this continuous circle, what the Buddhists call the samsara.
so yeah, so here's a few things actually on that subject, and please forgive me for, this is a little bit of a diversion, but diversions are what these videos often have. Do you remember Jim McDade? Did you ever meet Jim McDade in Toy Kenning and Spencer? He used to sit in the Pillars of Hercules. Maybe you didn't come.
Yes, I know. I remember him well. He was a very friendly man.
Yes. So he passed away recently.
I'm sorry to hear. I remember him. Yes.
And here's the thing: no one told me about life. No one said, Martin, you're going to get to an age where someone will pass away and you won't ever recover from it. It'll be someone you love so much that no mourning will mean that you feel okay over it. That's going to happen. That happens to us all at some point. And you're going to get to a point where every 3 or 4 months, someone you know is going to pass away. And maybe that's partly to do with my job. I know a lot of people in, because of my job are older people. But I've noticed, Yash, I'm getting worse at mourning. I used to be able to deal with things easier. What's happening is the cumulative amount of people leaving the house is starting to get at me. It's starting to get me down a bit. And learning to, I've never been good at goodbyes, I've never been good at dealing with when people have gone. Have you ever sussed this out? What do you do? Because you must have, I must be able to say to you, tell me some friends that have gone, and we've shared some. We knew Leo Zanelli. I can't phone Leo Zanelli anymore, and and have a.
I think I've managed to persuade myself that it's not a goodbye, but it's a hello. I think that I'm going not necessarily reincarnation. I'm not talking about afterlife. I'm talking of the fact that the spiritual aspect of my life has been so limited that there must be a lot left over for me to start enjoying once I'm gone. I'm persuaded that it's there. First of all, I mean, this is really the great benefit of getting old. The fact that you can feel, you don't need to see. You can feel that no matter how it is interpreted, there is a spiritless, as if it was a spiritually charged aspect to life that is going to remain there when life itself from your body has gone. So your life only relates to your body, nothing else. But there is so much more when you think spiritually, so much more of what you don't think about or you don't mention. That you've got to come across it and handle it somewhere along the line.
It sounds. This is going to sound really far out, so forgive me for this. There's something in what you said beyond words there. I had a feeling of someone I'm talking to who's almost half in the next place, who can sense sense that they can see the two sides now. It was really strange when you said that. It was beyond your words. I had a feeling that you kind of could see both sides of the coin at the moment because of where you are. That was a really interesting thing.
Really. Well, what we need to do is not to lose the opportunity of seeing if there is something there. Because
Oh, my dear fellow, I remember when we started this journey, we knew we'd be going towards a point where these videos were pretty tough. And we knew that, this was going to get tough. But sitting here talking to you, I think, God, I mean, most days must be quite a hardship now.
very hardship because I can't move. I freeze, for example, there's freezing, where I know that if I move my leg, I'm going to fall. So I need to call Zmira. By this time, I've called her a couple of times, and quite rightly, she's got her own. She's also 84 years old, and there's a helper here now, who is excellent, really, really well balanced between sympathy and pity, so to speak. But I'd like to. I try and meditate on my own, and to be honest in my meditation, to be sincere in my meditating. In other words, if I'm falling asleep, to recognize it as sleep and not thought, and to try. I must say it's an interesting period. I wish I could write and keep a record. Unfortunately, I lost that facility of recording things long ago.
And as a writer, I mean, this is the thing from outside, you know, you and I are perhaps, we've got many things we overlap on, but you've always been a very social person, a great interest in people, a really loving going and doing things. With a writer, you're very inspired and doing things like that. So you have to, you know, this is Parkinson's has taken a lot of that away. If not, you know, with writing, it's taken your writing away completely.
Well, Parkinson has put an element of urgency into the rest of my life. Without Parkinson, I think I would be suffering. Whereas as it is, I'm identifying. I know I've got Parkinson's. I can't get away from that. So that, I mean, one of the things is that I'm fascinated by what is coming next. It's different every day. That must be a blessing of some kind from having other illnesses. It's, you wake up in the morning frozen, you can't move. And you don't know what is going to happen next. You don't know whether you're going to be able to get up, sit up. And everything just becomes an adventure.
That's a wonderfully positive way of looking at it. I like that.
Well, I like nailing to the positive aspects and trying to sort of stick to them for a while. I mean, look, I don't understand what's going on in the world. I think to myself, how do I feel in general? And I think to myself, well, considering the war in the Middle East, for example.
I was going to ask you about this, and obviously you're Jewish, and yeah,
well, it's not so obvious.
Yeah, yes, yes. So maybe not obvious to those who don't know you, but yeah. So the what is your position on this? I mean, do you want to talk about it? But it's a scary, fun situation, and
well, it's not a scary situation from a point of view of most Israelis. It's facing reality. So there's nothing that is surprising us at the moment, except the positive aspects. You know, that we are managing to hang on.
I have friends, I have meditation students in Tel Aviv who are trying to raise a baby and have a life and do normal things through all this, and have to wake up in the morning and think, right, rocket fire. Okay. You know, it's really very.
Rocket fire is okay. What about the beheading of babies?
Yeah.
That sort of cruelty is inexplicable. How does a fighter, a human being, bring himself? I mean, it's bad enough to rape and to beat up and to do, but to mutilate his children, it's beyond comprehension.
Indeed, I read of some of these atrocities, and I thought it's hard to imagine all these things. If you take some time and think, like, put yourself in the position of everyone involved, you know, the position of the person doing it, the people who are witnessing it. Oh, it's just hard to fathom it all.
But there's one way of handling it. That is linking it to our earthly being, linking that sort of pattern of behavior to our daily lives on Earth, on this Earth, while we are born and before we die, and not link it to universal existence. The universe has got much more to offer than an inexplicable behavior of one human being or a handful of human beings who finally are acting contrary to their own instincts. You know, somebody asked me, how can a Buddhist kill? Well, the answer is that he's not a Buddhist when he kills. He's only a Buddhist when he behaves himself like a Buddhist.
Yes. There's a Buddhist saying, which is, every moment is a chance to be enlightened. And I always thought it meant every moment was a chance to have a sudden insight. But now I know it's being enlightened in the moment. It is. That's the one. That's the way. And do you have family still in Israel, relations?
Yes, very close family. My sister-in-law is Mira's sister, and her whole family, all their children, grandchildren, they're all in Tel Aviv. They're all under, the sirens. But anyway, everything will be over. Interesting.
Do you think that's what's going to happen, that there will be a resolution soon, or?
Well, there's got to be a resolution. I can't understand why they don't remain emphasizing the problem. The problem is the hostages. That's the problem, the hostages. And until the Hamas decide to give up their hostages, which they will not do, even when they decide to give them up, they'll only give up half or 3/4, or they will always keep a handful because they can use the hostages. In Israel, hostage swapping is one Jewish hostage against 100 Palestinians. That's a sort of ratio or more. The Hamas will never agree to a proper, they don't stick to their guns, they don't stick to their promises. So it's a very difficult situation. And the Israelis cannot say we're going to sacrifice our hostages. In other words, do whatever we have to do, irrespective of what happens to the hostages.
And please be aware, as we carry on the call, I'm very uninformed politically. So it's, I live a life of a sort of mystic retreat, but I see things now and again and hear from things. Yes. So it's interesting to hear sort of different angles on it. But now we've talked a little bit about that situation. We've only got sort of 10 minutes left in our conversation. I'd like to move a little bit
10
back
minutes is
to
a lot, precious time.
Yeah, precious time. And that's an important thing. What joys are there that you can still have day to day through everything you're going through?
The most important joy, if you are lucky enough, because I've got colleagues that are in their 90s and that are exactly in the opposite situation, is family. If you've got the love and affection of children and grandchildren, it's a compensation for everything else. It's like a cushion. It's like pillows.
Yes.
It's not just a matter of having a cover and a mattress to lie on so that you can sleep. It's the softness of everything that doesn't need to be explained. And I think that sort of awareness of spirituality, or awareness of the love, the affection.
And do you see your family often?
Yes, well, my daughter and my son and their children, who have got 4 and 3 respectively, make a point of coming to visit us from time to time.
And that's, I hope they know how important that is. That, you know, you're
I
going
think,
through all this pain in the body and emotions, and just seeing them and experiencing that heart to heart.
absolutely. They are very good. Fortunately, Smira has got a very good friendship with Dana, with my daughter.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah.
And that's probably what, when they're patching you up and saying, yeah, the ship's going to sink, but let's put some more plugs in this leak and let's put some of the water out. Part of you is thinking, well, at least I get to see my, you know, family next week, you know, and that's what we're fighting for, perhaps.
And you can't express apologies enough, because I can see exactly where I'm going wrong. And you can only play the innocent. Do you know that American English, was it English magazine, Alfred, who say, "Who, me?" Do you remember that? Have you
No,
ever come
tell me.
across? Well, it's a caricature of a magazine, of a caricature character who used to take the blame for everything
Yeah.
by using that expression, "Who, me?" Who, me, question mark. I think this bit needs to be deleted from our lecture.
I'll have a look at the Who Me. No, we'll find it out and put a little picture of the Who Me.
Alfred is his name, Alfred.
Yeah. Well, I'll find out Alfred and the Who Me. I mean, the thing is, though, when you're going through great hardships, or even, you know, when we're busy or anything like that, or when life gives stress, we all know that we get a bit grumpy and troublesome. And in your situation, I think you'll find that those around you are fully aware that this isn't something you're doing to give them trouble. And even if they do get a bit angry back, they know deep down that this is you dealing with one of the hardest things anyone can go through, you know? So be real, don't feel bad about feeling bad, you know? You do your best.
I appreciate your friendship very much.
Yeah, and you too. Kindra and I have got a special license with each other. There are times, you know, when you're in an emergency and everything's going wrong, you have to move to quick communication. You can't say, "Darling, I wonder if you might please bring the fire extinguisher through." You know, you have to use do this, do that, do that, and you can get a bit grumpy. You know, the flight's cancelled or the print run's not working or whatever. And well, after it's all done and you've solved the situation, you got to just be able to just let go of stuff. And I think in your situation, as you say, you're both in your 80s and you're very ill. And, I mean, very ill. And most people can't imagine what it's like. I mean, you're saying it's different every day. I think different every day. If I wake up and I don't know if I can go to the toilet that morning, you know, that doesn't. I know the sense of adventure is a positive way of looking at it, but it sounds, you know, some people might find that quite a scary idea, Yasha. You know, the unpredictability.
But it's a good challenge to have at the age of 84.
Keep you challenged with different
See how
things.
many more times I can go to the loo without falling.
Yes, so it's a different game, that one.
It's like one of the pinball games.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Yasha, we're on 3 minutes until this naturally ends. So I think you and I should take a bit of control here and say, you know, it's been wonderful talking, and I hope that this video is useful in many levels. I think it's useful. I hope it'll be useful for people who may ever go through kind of what you're going through. I hope it's useful as a record of where your heart is and some of your insights are. I think that's a really useful thing. And I hope it's also useful for some of us who aren't going through that, because some of these lessons, they're lessons about life, you know? They're big lessons about what to value. And when everything's taken away, status and ability to do things and everything, what's left? And, you know, this is your kind of your spirituality and your love.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's lovely talking to you, Yasha. Thank you very much for making the effort to be here.
Thank you.